My team to play, I'm fading the Patriots. I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals 5.5-point favorites in the desert against New England. This is I know I do this once a week, kind of a narrative-based pick. And there is some evidence to back this up, but there's not a lot of good vibes going around the Patriots. With how things have gone this year, I don't see them as the sort of team that gets off the mat after a late season bye, goes on the road across the country, and gives a team any sort of competitive effort. We are starting to hear stories circling about Gerard Mayo's job security. Greg Bedard, the Boston Sports Journal, said that he had team sources who said Mayo could be on the chopping block if they don't look good down the stretch, which is, by the way, if they're if they're making this decision on the last 4 games of his first season, that's not a great criteria either. I do think if they get their asses whooped this way to next way, is that even the rest of the way, that doesn't bode well for them, because I heard them talking about
that ass over. I gotta kick it one more time.
Look what Carolina's doing, right? Have you seen anything like that from the Patriots?
No, the Patriots is more like Vegas.
Yes, right. Yeah,
it's much more more parallels there.
So you're kind of playing out the string. I just I don't think they're. There's nothing that makes me believe Gerard Mayo is going to be great coming out of the bye. I think too. You look at the matchup, and this is it was the ESPN FPI. Or whatever it is. FPI, yeah. Strength of schedule this season. I know there are different metrics across the board. I've seen or heard that the Patriots have had the easiest schedule this season by DVOA. I might be wrong about that. But going by FPI, they have had the 26th easiest, or the 60th.
But if you flipped every one-score game in their favor, they would be 6 and 7.
That's a good point. They'd be in the Super Bowl. So they've played an easy schedule. They have not played a lot of good teams. By the FPI index, the Cardinals have played the toughest schedule in the league. That doesn't really mean as much to me as the fact that the Patriots haven't really, despite how bad they've been, haven't really played anyone.
Yeah.
So I do think Kyler Murray might be the best quarterback they've played so far this season. Tua, I guess, is in there too.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford.
So my point is, Stafford's probably it. They haven't played a lot of good quarterbacks. This is a pretty strong offense. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for Arizona to score here. Tight end is one of the best in the league. Was McBride? I think he's first in receptions and yards, or second receptions over the last 6 weeks. Patriots have given up 10 yards receiver, or 10 yards a catch to tight ends. Kyler's going to be running around. They've struggled with that in the past. I just think this is a bad matchup, bad spot. I like the Cardinals to run away here. So,
you think Gerard Mayo gets another year?
Yes. I think there was another report, I think it was Fowler or Graziano at ESPN, said the bigger thing is they're going to look to try to get a veteran guy to come in. I think that's the more likely thing as his coordinator, one of his coordinators.
My thing, it's
babysitter basically.
I don't know how you can look at anything that the Patriots have done this year, accomplished, and feel like there's been no progress. What do you hang your hat on? And also, this is a guy who was elevated quickly into a far more prominent role than he had. It's just, I don't know. If you're, I'm starting to think more and more that there might be some fire to the smoke.
There probably should be. You'd rather.
I think maybe that's why I'm just talking myself into it. But if you're
cut bait and do it now, then
if you're Robert Kraft and your legacy is this Hall of Fame thing and keeps going, and it's just you need to win games and you need to turn this thing around, and you have the quarterback in place and you're trying to maximize that window. It's just what do you hang your hat on as being nah, I trust this guy. Why do you trust him?
Well,
why?
In that case, he probably shouldn't have been going out there shaking his ass on Thursday Night Football when they were playing the Jets, being I knew that we made a great decision with still 15 games left to play.
I think it was Bedard that actually brought up a good point too. The fact that you have a first year head coach already talking about the next season, that is jarring.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's hey, maybe this weekend figure something out. So, all right. I think I got one more. Oh yeah. Speaking of great decisions and making prudent decisions, knowing what you need to do over the course of a given year or season, there's no better decision than to listen to The Spread, Nesson's football sports betting picks podcast on the Nesson family of vodcasts and podcasts. If you're a vodcast person, you want to watch us every week, you can do that at Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. That's the Nesson handles for all of those. Or if you want to listen, like you and I, we're old school in that way, you can listen on Spotify, Apple, wherever else you get your podcasts.